Yo, it's PFL playoff time.
It's about to get real.
A million ways, I only need one. A million moments, I only need one.
Tonight, from MSG, the lightweights and light heavies are throwing down.
Big right hand.
Excitement, tension, and plenty of mama drama.
Oh, boy.
It's go time for showtime.
Submission victory.
Anthony Pettis has got one shot to redeem himself.
Stevie gets the finish.
Plus, Amari Akhmedov is hoping to throw down his 4-ounce sleeping pill against the undefeated Josh Silvera.
And that'll do it. Wow.
Plus, GSP protege, the Canadian gangster, OAM continues his quest for gold.
A million ways, I only need one. A million moments, I only need one.
It's win or go home madness as these bros try to get a step closer to that $1 million payday. The PFL starts right now on ESPN+.
See, I'm the one. A million reasons, I only need one. A million reasons, I only need one.
Welcome, PFL fight fans, to New York City and the playoffs. Light heavyweights and lightweights taking center stage in one of the most iconic arenas in the entire world. Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden, playing host to the semifinals at 155 and 205. Fighters already in this building. There is Martin Hamlet. He'll be part of a qualifier bout coming up on ESPN+. The Canadian gangster, he'll be in a semifinal action tonight as he takes on Alexander Martinez, one half of our lightweight playoff bracket. Welcome everybody to the DraftKings playoff pre-fight show. As I mentioned, it's all about the lightweights and the light heavyweights. Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray. You've seen that movie before. In fact, it was only 6 weeks ago, and that sets up a semifinal rematch. Anthony Pettis, the #1 seed. Stevie Ray, with that finish of Pettis, earned himself enough points for the #4. And OAM, who you just saw in the locker room, he will be taking on Alexander Martinez in the 2 versus 3 matchup. At light heavyweight, Robert Wilkinson and Daylon Monte. Wilkinson, 2 finishes en route to the #1 seed in his regular season bouts. And Amari Akhmedov, he did enough in his 2 finishes to get the #2 seed. And he still has to fight a teammate. He thought it was going to be Shoeface. Instead, it's Josh Silvera. Anthony Pettis, the odds have swung very slightly in his favor. At one point this week, that was a pickup. And now Josh Silvera, the rookie, the undefeated youngster, is a favorite over Omari Akhmedov, a seasoned veteran. OAM and Robert Wilkinson are both big-time favorites in their bouts. Sean O'Connell and Randy Couture and Kenny Florian, and this is the playoffs. This is what the PFL season is all about. Regular season, that's in the books. Now the playoffs, and of course the winners, a trip to the championship and an opportunity for a $1 million check. Let's talk about our main event. Stevie Ray, Anthony Pettis. We saw this one only 6 weeks ago. I love rematches. I especially love rematches when they're fresh. Stevie Ray submitted Anthony Showtime Pettis. Not an easy feat. And he did it with a very unique, very slick submission. Can he do it again?
Well, he's certainly going to be riding high on confidence. Just knowing that you're able to go out there and defeat a legend like Anthony Pettis is going to be huge for him mentally coming into this fight. And he has some adjustments to make in this fight as well. Didn't have a great start in that last one, but he does know he can battle back from adversity and do that right there. A submission I had never seen performed and executed in a professional mixed martial arts fight.
All right, and so you're Anthony Pettis. You get submitted by Stevie Ray. You get submitted by something that even this guy has never seen before. And of course, you want redemption. A lot of times in the sport of mixed martial arts, you gotta wait around if you're ever gonna get that rematch. If you're ever gonna wash that bad taste out of your mouth, you didn't have to wait long, and he's set on doing that here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony Pettis makes no bones about it. He seriously underestimated the format of the PFL in 2021. Came in this season, uploaded his camps, got his weight under control, and he did this in his first fight out. The win score 6 points. Beautiful topside triangle, but not an easy technique to pull off, and he did it masterfully. He looked like the Anthony Pettis of old. I think we expect to see him that way again tonight.
All right, if you're going to do a playoff event at Madison Square Garden, you know the whole gang is going to be here. And Brett Okamoto is in the building from ESPN. We go to him for more on this fight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. And of course, Anthony Pettis has had a career that most fighters would dream about, right? The multiple championships, the longevity of it, the highlights that he's had. I remember watching him in 2010, back when he was in the WEC. That portion of his career gets overlooked a little bit. It should not. Because he was terrific in the WEC, won a championship with one of the most famous kicks in the history of the sport, landing a kick off the cage against Benson Henderson. Stephen Bonner saying, jumping off the cage like a ninja. 3 years later, he won a UFC championship by submitting Benson Henderson again in his hometown in Milwaukee. I remember his coach, Duke Rufus, telling me that it felt like he was around Michael Jordan, and I don't think he was wrong. When Anthony Pettis was on, he was magic. And now here it is, 2022. He's disappointed about how 2021 went. He's disappointed, of course, about how his last fight against Stevie Ray went. He's looking for redemption tonight. Does he get it? Ian Parker has the answer for us. Ian?
Thanks, Brett. You know, I think Anthony Pettis should have the answer here. Going into that last fight, already clinching the playoffs, it's a hard mindset to go in there and get a win, try to stay away from injury. But in that first round, he looked fantastic. And earlier in the week, I was all over it. He was plus 120 as an underdog. Now he's a slight favorite. We're going to go with Showtime Anthony Pettis here at minus 115. If he could go back to that first round from the last fight, strike from a distance, counter, and then push forward. As long as he stays off the ground, which he really is no slouch there. He just got caught. I believe Anthony Pettis is better everywhere. Experience, level of competition, and it's do or die for Anthony Pettis to possibly be a Grand Slam winner. It is showtime. I'm going with Anthony Pettis. Back to you, Sean.
All right, thank you, Ian Parker. So the betting expert says Anthony Showtime Pettis makes the adjustments, get the job done. And of course, that's big news because then he's one fight away from that $1 million championship and the gold belt that he's wanted since he signed with the PFL. It's a rematch. I've told you that many, many times. And we decided, you know what? I want to get the perspective of Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray. How did they feel about the way the fight went the first time around? We've got that for you.
Going into that last fight, I was guaranteed a playoff spot, so I came in with the wrong mindset. You know, I was trying to survive and not get hurt in that fight, so I knew I had a playoff spot, guaranteed already. Kind of backfired on me.
He still has that body triangle, though. That is wrenching the back of Anthony Pettis. You see Anthony really wincing there.
I've got the body triangle with the inside hook in between his legs. That's an important detail. And when he's turned in, I've still got the bottom part of his spine completely locked.
That left foot is putting a lot of torque on the backs of the spine of Pettis.
Then when I've grabbed his shoulder and I'm pulling and I'm just completely twisting his spine.
Oh, there's a tap! Stevie Ray gets the finish and secures himself a playoff spot!
It got announced as a modified body lock, but it wasn't. It's a modified twister.
I know he's confident about, catching me in that submission. I was winning the stand-up already. I was scoring points. I was throwing jump kicks. He's in for a totally different fight. I'm going to come out there, landing body kicks, land that right hand, make it hard for him to take me down. It's going to be a long night for him.
That's going to be in his head, thinking that hit me as hard as he could, and I'm still standing. Nothing really fazed me in that fight. It's going to be the same again this time. I'm going to be too much.
I'm going to knock this guy out. He got confidence from the first fight, but he fought a different Anthony Pettis.
Slick submission from the Scotsman.
My mindset in that fight is nowhere near where it's at right now.
A lot of intrigue for that main event. Now let's talk about the co-main event. Big storyline here is that Omari Akhmedov and Josh Silveira are teammates. Not just teammates, longtime teammates at American Top Team. Of course, there's a big difference in their careers. Omari Akhmedov has been around the block. He's incredibly experienced. Josh Silveira, this is his first step up onto the big stage. Let's start with Omari Akhmedov, incredibly well-rounded. He has looked great here in his second season in the PFL. What do you expect?
Well, everybody's talking about the Dagestani influx in the American marketplace in mixed martial arts. This is the guy that led that charge, Omari Akhmedov. He's been around that much. He's got a first-round knockout, one of the brutalest knockouts we've seen in the PFL. He did a great job. He's well-rounded, heavy-handed. He's got a second-round submission finish against Oxtulis in his second fight to secure that #2 seed in this weight division. This guy's a well-rounded, very experienced fighter. Fighting a teammate, it is interesting. It's going to be a great fight.
And let's flip things over to Josh Silveira. This is a coach's son down there at American Top Team, but he was the young guy helping guys like Omari Akhmedov get ready for high-profile fights. Now he's here in one against Omari Akhmedov. How does he handle it?
It isn't an ideal situation for him, but, who knows more about Akhmedov than Josh Silveira? He's a guy who's trained with him a lot, And for me as a fighter, I would like to have as much information on my opponent as possible. You know, Akhmedov has 4 times as much experience than Silveira, but watch out for the confidence of a younger, undefeated fighter like Silveira. So I think he's going to be coming out very aggressive, trying to keep a fast pace and just put it on Akhmedov from the get-go.
And you can see the luscious flow, the incredible locks, that mullet for Josh Silveira.
Classic.
You ever have a mullet?
No. I wish I did. I had a rat tail at one point, which is just disgusting.
Absolutely had the
Randy?
mullet.
Yeah.
There it is.
Little mullet comparison there.
Party in the back, all business up front.
I love it. Who wore it better, Randy Couture or Josh Silveira? Well, look, not only is Josh Silveira fighting a teammate, but as I said, he's a coach's son. Conan Silveira, his father, will be in his corner tonight. It is a family affair for the Silveira clan.
There's the undefeated prospect, Josh Silveira, followed by his corner and coach, his father, Conan Silveira.
When I'm in the cage, I usually flip my back and I'm with my dad. He looks at me and I know that eyes when he's staring right at me. He said, I want you to open, be free now.
Big hit kick.
Unbelievable. Josh Silveira elicits the tap.
He's out. He's out.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Elena.
Conan Silveira very pleased with his son's performance.
Gabriel elbow. I always try to go with the seat belt, the ones close to the cage. I came to the United States with $300 in my pocket. I work from 5 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the night, you know, as a dishwasher.
My dad's a black belt from Carson Gracie, which is it's just very special, you know. There's maybe like 150, you know. So it's a special thing. We got to experience Carson Gracie and all the old school guys, not just in the gym, but outside the gym, in the house. The laundry constantly going, always cleaning kimonos, always. Kimonos being hung up.
He's been in the match since he was 1.5 years, 2 years old. He's the one told me, I want to be a fighter. I want to be like you.
When it's time to be dad, he's dad. When it's time to be coach, he's coach.
Go for it, go for it. Right there.
We're already so blessed to be here, you know. We love that we are part of this American dream.
Silveira desperately needs an early finish to keep himself alive for the playoff hunt. And Silveira pulls on the strikes, and that'll do it. Big win there for Josh Silveira.
And how proud are you to be sitting here next to somebody you raised after everything you've been through?
I think goes beyond proud.
I get a little emotional sometimes because now that we're here and I'm in position to do great things, oof, man, it's just freaking, it's amazing.
He definitely is fighting for the legacy.
People say that the sky is the limit, not for us. There's no limit for us.
Unbelievable. It gets the ice in his veins.
I cannot wait for what there is to come. You know, we're just getting started.
So an emotional semifinal for Josh Silveira for multiple reasons. Dad in his corner, biggest opportunity, fighting a teammate. It's a lot to handle, but of course, it's not the only light heavyweight semifinal. Randy, what do you think about the other matchup, Rob Wilkinson, De La Monte? Wilkinson has looked great.
Wilkinson's looked amazing. 2 finishes in his regular season bouts have put him in that #1 seed. Long, rangy striker. Here's a guy, when everybody else was locked down, he took on some boxing and kickboxing matches to stay sharp. He's a very well-rounded, great fighter, up from middleweight, stopped cutting all the weight, and now he's having some real success. I think we're seeing Rob Wilkinson come into his own here in the PFL. This guy's going to be tough for anybody to deal with. Long, straight punches. He's very formidable. He's in shape. This is a tough guy to deal with.
Of all the wins between Rob Wilkinson and De La Monte's careers put together, only 2 have come not inside the distance, right? Yeah. The only 2 have gone to the distance. They're big-time finishers. Let's talk about the other lightweight matchup. OAM, Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He's still undefeated as a PFL fighter, he's taking on Alexander Martinez.
He's got a lot of skills. He's a very intelligent fighter. Always has a great game plan. He's able to execute that game plan. Comes from one of the best gyms in the world. Has some excellent training partners. The protege of George St. Pierre, of course. So he's got all the skills to get it done. You know, he's got takedowns. He's on the national team, or was on the national team for Canada in judo. Has excellent striking and knows how to put it all together. Dangerous on the ground as well. Knows how to mix it up. Knows how to win rounds. And he has some experience in sparring and working with Martinez. So he's got a lot going for him. Really curious to see what approach he takes, because we've seen different OAMs throughout last season and this season.
All right, so how are we betting the semifinal card? For that, we have an expert. His name is Ian Parker. Ian, tell us.
This is an interesting fight with teammates here, but I do like Josh Silveira at -210. That's a little tough for me, so we're going to go to our fight props. I'm going to take it a step further. I don't like the chin of Omari Akhmedov, and he tends to fade late in the fight. Silveira's got good cardio. We're going +110 by finish. Moving on to the next fight, OAM, Alex Martinez. Look, this is a real interesting one for me. OAM is kind of sat, moving laterally a lot, not pressing the action, jamming his way to victory. Also gets a little tired towards the end. I'm going bigger, going home here. I'm going the underdog, Alex Martinez, at +210. I think his aggression, he's very well-rounded. If he can take the fight and set a really tough pace, I think he gets it done. And Sean, that's how we're rolling tonight with these plays.
All right, that's how Ian is picking, and guess what? I've got big exciting news from DraftKings. They've actually released odds on futures. So right now you can go bet on who you think is going to win not only the semifinal fight, but the overall championship in these weight classes. You see OAM is the odds-on favorite right now at +100. Alexander Martinez, his opponent for tonight, who Ian picked for the upset, is +800
wow.
to win it all. Let's see what it looks like at light heavyweight on the futures. Josh Silveira, the youngest, least experienced fighter on this card, is the guy who's the overall favorite at +120. Rob Wilkinson just behind him. All right, well, Ian Parker, you're the expert here. Now that you've seen those futures numbers, how would you play it?
Well, for the light heavyweight, I'm going to go with Rob Wilkinson here. He has looked flawless, and I think the size, the striking, he's so well-rounded. At +130, that's going to be my future play with that. For the lightweights, we are going to get a little strategic here. You mentioned I did pick Martinez, which I did, and I still stand by that play. However, I think whoever wins coming out of that bracket gets it done and wins a championship. So what I'm going to do is, to be profitable, if either of those guys win, you put the same unit on OAM and Martinez. As long as one of those guys wins the championship, you are profitable. Sean, that's how we're going to pick these futures tonight.
Okay. That's why he's a betting expert, because he's got ways that you can play it both ways. And our first fight of the night is coming up in just a few minutes. You can see a little highlight there for another rematch on the card. Hendricks and Hamlet was exciting the first time around. We'll talk about it next. PFL fight fans, we are in New York City for playoff action. Lightweights and light heavyweights squaring off in the semifinals. And if they win tonight, a trip to the $1 million championship bout. Professional Fighters League is, of course, the only MMA league with a regular season and playoffs and a championship. You know what? Let me fully explain to you how the PFL format works. We've got 10 fighters in each weight class, 6 different weight classes. 2 regular season fights for each fighter. 3 points are awarded for a win. You get bonus points if you can secure a finish in any round. The top 4 fighters on points in each division make the playoffs. That's where we're at tonight, these semifinals. And if you advance through the playoffs, you're in a $1 million championship bout. The winner takes home a beautiful gold belt and $1 million. Here is our semifinal main card. It'll be simulcast starting at 7 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus and ESPN Deportes. Anthony Showtime Pettis, Stevie Ray in a main event rematch. Akhmedov and Silveira, teammates fighting in the co-main. OAM versus Alexander Martinez in that 2-3 matchup. And Robert Wilkinson secured himself the #1 seed. He'll take on Delon Monte. We'll start the actual MMA fight action here on ESPN Plus with our early card, including a light heavyweight qualifier between Corey Hendricks and Martin Hamlet. You can see Hamlet is a favorite there. And then a welterweight showcase bout between Mahmoud Sabi and the man we call Itzo. Guess what? We're going to do a nightcap for you as well. After our main card on ESPN, we go back to ESPN Plus exclusively, starting at 9 Eastern, for these showcase and qualifier bouts. But let's focus on the next fight to come. Inside the Smart Cage, we are minutes away from a light heavyweight affair that I can promise you is going to be exciting. Why can I promise you that? Because we saw this one before, and the last time it was back and forth. It was spectacular. Randy, does it go differently or the same?
Well, that's a good question. I think the onus is always on the guy that won the first fight. What's that guy going to change? What's he going to adapt? And this was a great fight. It looked like it was all Martin Hamlet early on, landing big strikes, really doing a great job controlling a distance in the striking. And then he gets a little tired. He fades a little bit. He ends up with Corey Hendricks on his back. Now, I don't think this is a rematch that Corey Hendricks necessarily wants, other than it gets him out of the alternate seat he's been in all season, which hasn't made him very happy. He gets a chance now to fight for a shot at the 2023 season. Hamlet, I think he just continues to get better, to temper that wrestling aggression and last the distance.
Corey Hendricks has been delightfully salty about being an alternate. Does that affect the way he fights against Martin Hamlet?
I think it can help him in a lot of ways. But, you know, this is a guy who has a lot of experience. I think, like Martin Hamlet, he has improved a great deal since the last time they fought. He's a guy who's very well known for his leg kicks. He's also very dangerous on the ground as well. He's a finisher. Love the way he fights. I think we're going to have another fantastic fight here.
So the action will start right there. And you know what? Brett Okamoto actually caught up with Martin Hamlet to talk about this rematch. Brett?
Here with Martin Hamlet, who's getting ready for his first rematch of his career. How was it preparing for a guy that you're familiar with? And what ultimately do you need to do differently from the first fight, Martin?
Yeah, we have looked at the last fight and see what was good from this fight with Corey last time and what was bad and what we need to change. So let's say we are not doing the big things because we did win 30 minutes of that fight. So maybe we spend energy in the right moments, and I believe I will beat him tonight.
One thing about the PFL, man, is there's always something at stake, whether it's points, whether it's a playoff berth. This is for your qualifying of next year. Are you feeling the weight of that at all tonight as you walk into this cage?
Yeah, you know, you always have to be aware, and when you're stepping into that cage and PFL and things are online, even if it's a championship or it's a playoff match or anything, like a qualifier like now, I have to perform and I have to be the best Martin Hamlet tonight.
High stakes, man. I can't wait to watch it. Best of luck, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm telling you, you do not want to miss that, and it's coming up in just a couple of minutes. But there's more fights on the card that we still have to figure out how to bet. We have an expert for that, Ian Parker. How are we betting the rest of that card?
Well, we're going to start off with a 3-fight parlay. We're going to the betting big board. We're going to start off one of our bigger favorites at -410 at Pergon. We're going to get him in there as the first leg. The next one, we're going to go with Zurcher. Loved him on the Challenger Series. He was a really exciting fighter. However, with his odds as well at minus 645 to get any type of value, we got to get him in there, and this will get the odds to come down. So you get these big favorites. If you want to get some action, we're going to shrink them down to size. And last but not least, we're going to go with who I think is going to win the season at light heavyweight, and Robert Wilkinson right there. Add him into it, and look, you are almost at even money on 3 huge favorites. Now, speaking of Wilkinson, I also have another play that I really love going on with him. We are now locked in with that parlay on top of that. So let's go to our fight props here. Wilkinson is fighting someone in Monte that we saw in his last fight. Charges him with reckless abandon, got the knockout, but in his first fight got submitted by Shoeface. I think that Wilkinson gets this done by finish at minus 165 for almost a 3-to-1 favorite. As long as he gets it done, doesn't matter how, inside of 3 rounds, we cash that bet. So I'm going there. Sean, let's cash these tonight. Let's have a great night. Back to you.
All right, Ian, I love the way you worked at betting big board, but I need a bold prediction for the card tonight. What's your wildest play?
Oh, you really want the full boat here. My wild Bavago bold prediction is going to be Alexander Martinez beats OAM in the 3rd round at plus 2,000 odds. I'm going this based on the cardio of OAM and the nonstop pressure of Martinez. So, hey, at plus 800 for him to win, at plus 200 for him to win tonight, why not plus 2,000 to do it in the 3rd round? Let's go.
Plus 2,000. Ian Parker, going for it. He's trying to buy you people a vacation.
Wow.
That is a big-time pick. And remember, all right, he already pulled off, or excuse me, Ian predicts the upset for Alexander Martinez. Now he's getting real specific on it. And Alexander Martinez on the futures, he was in that dead last spot, plus 800. OAM was the favorite at only like plus 100. Yep. So Ian Parker has got you picking some wild stuff. All right, fighters in the building, getting ready to go. There's Showtime himself, Anthony Pettis. Look at that New York Knicks jersey. Playing to the crowd a little bit. He'll be part of our main event, 1/2 against Stevie Ray. Our first fight of the night will feature that man right there, Corey Hendricks. He wants an official spot on the PFL light heavyweight roster. That's what's at stake if he can beat Martin Hamlet. Martin Hamlet was in a PFL championship a year ago. Now he's fighting for his PFL future, and it's next.
Theater here at Madison Square Garden. Tonight is a very special PFL fight night. We are the only fight group with the regular season, playoffs, and championship. Tonight, our main card has 4 semifinal fights on ESPN, in which the fighters will be one step away from $1 million payday in the lightweight and light heavyweight divisions. It's win or go home all night long. So enjoy the PFL experience here at the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden. Our first fight is moments away live on ESPN+.